Welcome to class. In this session, we are going to discuss past obligation and permission. If you check in the dictionary, the word obligation and permission can be countable or non-countable. So, we can say obligation or obligations, permission or permissions, depending on the meaning that we want. In our role as a citizen in our community, we have obligations and permissions, whether they are in the past or the present. Let's take a closer look at the two words. Past obligations and permissions. An obligation is an act or course of action to which a person is morally or legally bound, a duty or commitment, while a permission is the action of officially allowing someone to do a particular thing, consent or authorization. Here are some examples. When I was in primary school, in this clause, the speaker shows us that it was in the past. As you can see, the verb was in this clause. So, what were the speaker obligations and permissions in the past? The first one, I had to wear a uniform every day. I could wear shorts to school. I was allowed to bring food from home. You notice there, the verbs are in the past, had, could, and was. Now let's observe the meaning of each obligation and permission. When I was in primary school, I had to wear a uniform every day. The meaning is, it was necessary. Wearing a uniform was necessary. I had no other choice. It was the dressing code in my school. The second one, when I was in primary school, I could wear shorts to school. The meaning is, it was possible for students to do it. The third one, when I was in primary school, I was allowed to bring food from home. The meaning is, the school gave me permission to do it. It was okay to bring food from home. I was allowed. Let's see how different the structures are when you use this language point to express past and present obligations and permissions. Here are the speaker's obligations and permissions in the present time. The first one, I am studying in an English school. I have to take the midterm and final exams. It means, now, I have no other choice. It is necessary for me. In fact, it is the rule. The second one, I don't have to submit assignments before the deadline. It means it is not necessary. I can submit them later. Next, I am studying in an English school. I am not allowed to cheat during exams. It means I am not permitted to do that, or my score will be deducted. However, in this session, we are going to focus on the past obligations and permissions. Here are some more examples. Now let's read an article together, taken from our student's book, English in Common 4B, page 110. The real Sherlock Holmes. Was Sherlock Holmes a real person? Not exactly, but Dr. Joseph Bell, the man who inspired the character of Sherlock Holmes, shared many qualities with the famous detective. Arthur Conan Doyle, the writer and creator of Holmes, met Dr. Bell in 1877. At the University of Edinburgh Medical School. Conan Doyle was studying to be a doctor, and Bell was one of his professors. Bell was 39 years old when Conan Doyle first attended one of his lectures. He is said to have walked with great energy. His nose and chin were angular, and his eyes twinkled with intelligent humor. Bell, who was a brilliant doctor, liked writing poetry, playing sports, and bird watching. By the end of Conan Doyle's second year, Bell had selected him to serve as his assistant. Being at work with Bell, where he had plenty of opportunity to observe, only increased Conan Doyle's admiration for the great doctor. Among other things, he was able to witness Dr. Bell's remarkable ability to quickly deduce a great deal about the patient. Dr. Bell observed the way a person moved. The walk of a sailor who had spent many years at sea varied greatly from that of a soldier. If he identified a person as a sailor, he would look for any tattoos that might assist him in knowing where the person's travels had taken him. He trained himself to listen for small differences in his patients' accents to help him identify where they were from. Bell studied the hands of his patients because calluses or other marks could help him determine their occupation. Conan Doyle published the first Holmes story in 1887. His innovation in creating a character that would appear over and over in a series of self-contained stories meant that Holmes's popularity grew with each installment. Soon the character was so beloved that people refused to believe he wasn't a real person. Letters addressed to Sherlock Holmes, consulting detective, arrived daily at Baker Street and Scotland Yard, each begging him to take on a real case. Now you have some time to read and try to understand the rules of this language point. How are you doing? Please replay parts of this video if you are still unsure about some points. If you are ready, let's do some exercises. Here is another exercise. 7a. Correct the mistakes in the following sentences. How did you do? I hope you got all correct. If not, you can replay this video and then try to understand the lessons. That's all for now. I hope you learned something useful. I will see you again in my next video.